Hello, it's Jason checking in one last time on my adventures in Chile. I have been home for a little over a month, and that included a month of traveling after I left Chile before I got home. I teamed up with one other person in the international program to make a micro-documentary on international students' immersion into Chilean culture, and I did this for the school that I went to down there. So I've been working on that, which is why I'm a little bit delayed with this video. Between my last video and the time I left Chile, I did quite a few things. I made sure that Chile left a mark on me, and I got myself tattooed. I got South America with the Andes Mountains Range separating Chile from the rest of South America, and the blimp that says Espíritu Aventurero, which means adventurous spirit. If you were to watch the movie Up in Spanish, it's the name of the blimp. I also went shortly before I left on one final family trip with my host mom. We went to San Jose de Maipo. We basically just went up in the mountains and had fun for a few days with family. The long, steep, winding roads were so slippery that we actually couldn't get up, so we didn't go to the top of the mountains, but we did get some great views from as far up as we got to go. I finally went to visit the capital city of Santiago, which I had passed through a few times going to and from the airport, but it's actually only 2 hours from where I lived. I went just for a day with a few friends and we adventured, saw the capital and the White House of Chile. Santiago is right by the Andes, and so it's right by the mountains, whereas Viña Valpo were seaside, right by the ocean. So even though they're only 2 hours apart, there's a lot of really drastic differences, especially because it's the capital city. And the demographic of people was a lot different as well. In the last few weeks, I really had to start winding down. Classes ended in mid-June and I left at the very beginning of July, so I had about a half of a month just to hang out and do whatever. We had a farewell ceremony at the school where there was a slideshow, and that was kind of cool to see the students with their host families. My best friend actually came to visit, and the day she left, my boyfriend came down, and then from there we left to go to Peru. And so it was really cool to show both of them around a little bit more and show them what I had been experiencing for the last 5 months. Make them eat some of my favorite foods, drink some of my favorite drinks. While Brittany was here, we actually got to watch the Copa America final between Argentina and Chile, and Chile won, which was a super cool thing to be able to be in the culture and experience and celebrate that win for them, especially because there's a little bit of a rivalry between Argentina and Chile. When you were walking through town, cars were honking all the way home, and it took me about 40 minutes to walk home, so the entire time cars are honking, people are waving flags out the windows of their cars, everyone is screaming in the roads. Typically I'm not into sports, but I did follow the Copa America and the Chilean soccer team the entire time that I was down there. And being able to see them with that win was something that was really special, and I think it was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Right before I left, I got to celebrate not only my host mom's birthday with her, but the day before I left, it was my birthday, and some of my best friends that I made down in Chile celebrated with my whole host family, and then my boyfriend was there too, and it was just really cool and kind of just a sweet last goodbye. All in all, Chile was a very difficult experience for me, just because, and I did this to myself, but I went down there with no Spanish experience at all, and I thought with my past travels that people would know more English than they did, because throughout Europe pretty much everyone knows English, especially if they're younger. So I had that in mind when I went down there, and that people didn't speak English at all, it was all Spanish. So I just realized that the shirt I was wearing was really blending into the wall, so I had to go ahead and change it while I was almost done with this video. So anyway, I had no Spanish experience at all. I had never taken a class in Spanish, and it was just so hard for me. It would get really frustrating and discouraging. I would sit in class and basically just have stare-offs with some of my professors because they would ask me a question. I didn't understand what they were saying as the question, and so I couldn't even begin where to start. I would get told by some of my family members that I was really quiet, and that was also really frustrating for me because anyone that knows me knows that I'm not super quiet. I'm really outgoing and I love to talk. It's not that I'm quiet, it's that I really just can't talk with you because I don't know the language, and so it was really discouraging, but I think it was a really valuable learning experience. I actually left Chile having a really good sense of Spanish. I could really get around and get my point across for most things. I am not fluent by any means, however, it's something that I would really love to build on. I would love to go somewhere else and really challenge myself further and make myself learn more Spanish and know it better than I already do. I think I went down there and was like, I'm gonna be fluent in Spanish by the time I leave, And then as soon as I got down there, I'm like, this is never going to happen. I'm not going to learn any Spanish, and this is going to be the toughest 5 months of my life. And it was the toughest 5 months of my life. However, I learned a lot. Living with a host family was also super difficult just because I had lived on my own for several years, and I've been really independent even before that. And so to move in with someone and have to report to them at all times and let them know where I am and have them do my laundry and make all my meals and clean my dishes even. It's petty to even have to complain about that, but it's just something that I wasn't used to. But it was also a really valuable experience in becoming part of Chilean culture because you kind of learned how their family mechanism works and what their people are like. I know that I got really frustrated with my host family sometimes, and I know that they got really frustrated with me as well. However, I am so happy to have had them in my life and have them as part of the experience. It wouldn't have been the same without them. All in all, even though I actually am pretty happy to be home as much as I love traveling, Chile was just a really difficult place to live. I didn't always feel safe. I lived with constant anxiety of not being able to say what I needed or having people misunderstand me. And it was also just this thing of walking around in this place where robberies are so common and just people pickpocketing you and getting into your bag. And that actually, I saw it happen more than once, and I was robbed. I had my wallet stolen. And so it's kind of a breath of fresh air to not be in that environment. However, I do find myself missing Chile just because it was a place that I got used to for 5 months, and it's a place that I called home, and it's a place that I know kind of like the back of my hand now. My 2 study abroads couldn't have been more different, and I think that that is great, and I wouldn't trade that for anything. New Zealand was hard just because it was on the other side of the world from home, but it wasn't that different from home. This was on relatively the other side of the world from home, and it was nothing like home, and I had to adjust to that. Yeah, it was a valuable experience that I would never change, and I'm so happy that I did it. So I guess that's all for now, and I guess that's all on my adventures in Chile. So thank you so much for watching. Y entonces, chao por ahora, Chile, y gracias por todo.